Let's walk through the labor market information training for San Diego Continuing Education's 2016-2017 Instructional Program Review. First, I'll walk you through the steps to complete the Summary Labor Market Information Review, or LMI review, for vocational certificate programs. We will look at the Centers of Excellence website, and I will familiarize you with the demand and supply data tables. Heads up, for brevity's sake, you will often see Centers of Excellence referred to as COE. Also, while the supply table is an open Excel document, the demand table has a passcode, which is case sensitive, and you will need to enter it prior to opening it. You may obtain the passcode from either of the Program Review Committee chairs, myself, Jessica Lidke in the Office of Institutional Effectiveness, or your program dean. Finally, we will end by going through an LMI summary activity where we will use the demand and supply tables to fill in a sample summary. Please note that I am using a dual screen, and from time to time I'll be bringing in documents that have previously opened to help with the flow of the presentation. Why don't we get started? At present, there's no standard model officially recommended for conducting program review in the California Community Colleges system. There is an imperative, however, that every college must conduct an effective review of its instructional programs on a regular basis. And California Ed Code requires that every vocational or occupational training program in the community colleges is reviewed every 2 years. These reviews need to demonstrate that the program 1, continues to meet a documented labor market demand, 2, does not represent unnecessary duplication of other training programs in the service area, and 3, has demonstrated effectiveness as measured by the employment and completion success of its students. At SDCE, labor market reviews for vocational certificate programs are conducted annually and included in the annual program review process. This includes programs such as business, information technology, hospitality, healthcare, childcare, auto, skilled trades, etc. Next up, I've created steps to assist you in completing the labor market analysis. First, gather your program's designated taxonomy of programs codes, or top codes. You may have one, you may have several per program. You'll obtain this information from the program designation crosswalk that was sent to the program chairs as part of the program review package. And it looks something like this. I'm going to bring in a sample from off screen. Each overall program's crosswalk contains a column of top codes for each underlying program. It's a 6-column, column F. I'm going to be using the plumbing program as an example later, so I'll go ahead and jot down its top code now. Scroll down to the second page. And rows 58, 59, 60, we see the plumbing program. And the top code is 095230. Later, while writing the LMI summary, you will link your program codes to standard occupational classifications, which are called SOC codes. I'll show you later within the demand table how you find the appropriate SOC code for your program. Second, you'll gather your program certificate data from this year's program review data tables. You can use the number of program certificates of completion to validate the number of program completers for SDCE within the supply table, should you have questions with the information found. Note that you'll be using program completions for 1 year prior rather than the most recent year of data provided, because there is some time needed to reconcile data to the supply table. In reconciliation, I mean that students who completed a program in 2015-16 need a certain amount of time to get into the workforce. Therefore, data for 2016-17 would not yet be available in the supply table. So the latest year that you have access to within the supply table is 2015-2016. students. Third, you'll go to the Centers of Excellence, COE website, where you'll be able to obtain demand and supply information for a single occupation or cluster of occupations to demonstrate a regional program need. Fourth, you'll write a concise LMI summary for each CTE certificate program using the Program Review LMI worksheet embedded in Form A. We have included directions to complete an LMI summary that will write to or answer the program review questions and requirements within the Ed Code. Also included in Form A are template summary statements for single occupation or multiple occupation programs. These are quite literally fill-in-the-blank summaries with a prompt in each blank to tell you which column of the demand and supply tables to pull your information from. And this is what they look like. Once finished writing your program summary, place the summary in the LMI section of Form A below the questions. These summaries answer each of the LMI questions in Form A to the extent required. You may conduct additional analysis or review of each question, but it's not required. Prior to jumping into an example showing how you'll do the analysis and write up for a program, let's go to the Centers of Excellence website. It houses many resources that will help you in conducting your review. Let's familiarize ourselves with all of the information available to us, which is listed below. I'll bring this in from off screen. First, we have instruction guide. This is a PDF guide to opening and using the supply and demand tables for researching labor market information by region. Scrolling down, we have the supply tables. These are the Excel spreadsheets that you will open to get the student outcomes or program awards information. We also have the demand tables. This information houses the labor market information or the occupational projections. Centers of Excellence has created 2 videos to help orient you to the supply and the demand tables. Navigating the supply table and navigating the demand table. Finally, there's a top SOC crosswalk that's posted to the site. It's a downloadable Excel spreadsheet that crosswalks program codes, top codes, to corresponding occupational codes, SOC codes. Finding occupations with ONET Online is a 2.5-minute video that guides you in finding occupations through the ONET Online website. ONET is especially helpful if you're researching occupational titles. It will provide a corresponding SOC code per title, job description, provide samples of reported job titles, tasks, tools and knowledge, educational level for this job, etc. And finally, there are LMI guides to interpreting the data. Let's watch the videos navigating the supply table and navigating the demand table to help orient you to these data sources. First, navigating the supply table.
Welcome to this short instructional video on how to use the supply LMI table. Both the demand and supply files contain 2 main tabs. One is the LMI tab that has the data and the filters for selecting the data. The other tab is an instructions tab. The instructions tab shows you an overview of the data and how to select your data. On the supply instructions tab, there's a table to help you choose top 6 codes. You can scroll through this table to find either a program or a title. 2 tabs have been added to both the demand and supply LMI files. The first tab is the data definitions file, with links to the sources that were used for the supply data. For the community college programs, Datamart was used, and for other post-secondary programs, iPads was used, and there's links to both of those sources. The second tab is an Interpreting Data tab with a section on disclaimers about the data at the top and another section on implications for analysis. For both demand and supply, you make your selections in these boxes on the right. There's 7 on the supply side, one for type of education institute, community college or other post-secondary, regions, economic regions, counties, top 6 program titles or award levels. The selections you make in these boxes affect the data that's displayed in this table. Now let's try an example to help illustrate how you make selections to show data for a certain program. Let's start with the Bay region. So I make my selection of regions, and I want to choose 3 economic subregions in the Bay region. One will be East Bay, and then my other 2 will be Mid-Peninsula and Silicon Valley. To make multiple selections in one filter box, simply hold down the Control key while selecting your other selections. And I see that I've got my 3 subregions highlighted, and these are the counties in those subregions. The grayed out counties are not included. So I didn't make a selection in my filter box for counties. However, my selections that I made in subregions and region affected the list of counties. I'm going to leave the type of education institute alone for now to say community college or other post-secondary, but I do want to select medical assisting program. So you can scroll through this box or this box to find your top code. If they condense this by clicking on this little subtraction sign, you can see that those are the total awards for medical assisting. To see the detail, I simply click on the plus again, and I can see that I've got data for community colleges and other post-secondary. For community colleges, my data spans from 2012 to 2015. So my latest available 3-year average would be 2012 to 15. However, for other post-secondary colleges, I've got data for 2011 to 2014, so my latest available average would be for 2011-14. I can take either this latest available average or the latest year available, which for community colleges would be 2014-15, and for other post-secondary would be 2013-14. So I just want to see community colleges. I simply select up here. I've just got community colleges displayed. I can condense this to see my totals, or I can scroll down to the bottom of the table. If I want to make a completely different search, I can clear all filters by clicking on each of these red filter in the upper right corners, or I simply press refresh clear all filters, and it's done that for me. It leaves you with a message that says all selections or filters have been cleared. You can make your new selections by using the boxes on the right, follow the guides in the 2 tip boxes for help. The 2 tip boxes are here on the left and then here above your filter boxes. I hope this instructional video will help you when using the supply table. For any additional instructions or help, please contact your regional COE director.
Okay, let's go now to navigating the demand table.
Welcome to this short instructional video on how to navigate a demand LMI file. On both the supply and demand LMI files, there are 2 main tabs, one for instructions and one for the data, or LMI, labor market information. The table of data is here on the left, and the filters for choosing the data are here on the right. Let's go to the Instructions tab, and you can see that there's an overview of data provided. It helps you with choosing your geographical area, SOC code, job title, or a typical entry-level education. SOC codes are standard occupational codes created by the Bureau of Labor Statistics for doing labor market research. We have given you 2 sources for helping in the selection of SOC or SOC codes. One is ONET Online, a free online resource where you can put in any kind of keyword or title and it'll come up with a list of SOC codes. There's an instructional video on ONET included as well. The other resource we gave you is a crosswalk created by the COE directors that maps top 6 to commonly used SOC codes. You can search by the top 6 digit or by top 6 title, and you'll see the occupations related to that top code. Oftentimes, as you can see, there will be more than one SOC code. You can scroll through the table. It's sorted by top 6. 2 additional tabs have been added to the supply and demand LMI files. The first tab is a data definitions tab that goes into more detail on the data source, occupation information, employment data, education, training, and experience requirements, and wage data. Please read through this information on this tab as it will help you understand the data on the LMI tables. The second tab that has been included is an Interpreting Data tab. There are two sections to this tab. There is a Disclaimers section and an Implications for Analysis section. Now let's go back to the DAND LMI tab and look at these 6 boxes on the right for filtering our data. You can filter by region, economic subregion, county, SOC code, occupational title, which is related to the SOC code, or educational level. Let's go to LA Orange. So I just select LA Orange. And right away you can see there's a red filter that popped up in my box. That means I've created a filter in this box. It also affected these other boxes and grayed out counties that are not included. Let's say I only wanted to focus on Los Angeles County. I can choose Los Angeles. Again, I haven't made a selection economic subregion. However, my choices in county and region affected that box, as well as the SOC codes available and the educational levels. I'm going to choose an occupational title now to get more data on, and I'm going to start with medical assistance. So when I click the title, it automatically gives me the SOC code over here in this box. And then let's say that I might want some other titles included as well. My program might prepare students to be medical secretaries. Kind of hover over these that are cut off. You can see the full title comes up. I'm going to hold down the Control key and choose medical secretaries. I'm going to choose medical records and health information technicians as well. So I've got 3 SOC codes, and then you can see over here in the table, I've got my data for my 3 occupations. On the bottom, when it says grand total, this will be the total for all your chosen occupations. We've got 2014 jobs, 2017 jobs, 2014 to 17 change, which would be the new jobs, and this is the percentage change over that 3-year period. And openings is a summation of new jobs plus replacement jobs. And then you divide that number just by 3 to get an idea of annual openings. And that is usually the number that we use to indicate demand for a set of occupations or occupational cluster. The wages that are given are a 10% hourly earning wage and a median hourly earning wage. 10% hourly earnings is typically the entry-level wage for any of these occupations in the region selected. The other column of information that we haven't looked at yet is the typical entry level of education, which is given by MZ, and this is predominantly what is required as a degree or level of education when entering the job. So you want to be careful here. You might see that all the occupations you selected require a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, and if that's the case, you might want to do some more research in ONET to figure out what is typically the education level of people employed in that job. Now, if I'm all done with my data, I can copy this table out just by selecting it all into another sheet. And let's say that I want to clear all my filters. There are 2 ways of doing this. I can either click on all these red filters to clear, or just click Refresh Clear All Filters. A message pops up that says all selections on filters have been cleared. You can make your new selections by using the boxes on the right. I hope this instructional video will help you when selecting your demand data. For any other questions or help, please contact your regional COE director.
To open the demand and supply tables, click Download, and a tab will appear at the bottom of your screen. Do it for both, and you'll see both tabs. Click Open, and it will open the Excel spreadsheet. For the demand table, you need to put in a password that is case sensitive. Again, you can get this through myself in Office of Institutional Effectiveness, one of the committee chairs, or your program dean. Let's also open the supply table. And this one opened up right next to it, but it doesn't need the passcode. Let's go ahead and show you the summary template, what it looks like. It's provided in Form A of the program review packet. There is one template for single occupation programs and one for multiple potential occupations or occupational clusters. Each of the underlined areas in parentheses in this template provide information to help fill in the data needed to complete the summary narrative, usually referring to a column in the demand or supply table from which you will pull the data. In using this template, note that it's a general template We don't want to bog you down with the small stuff, so should your program not fit exactly into the mold of this template, you may change it to the extent that makes sense for your program. Also, you may format as you wish. Don't feel as though you can't delete a parentheses or have to bullet the paragraphs. Let's go ahead and work through an example. I've chosen the plumbing program. It prepares for employment in a single occupation. Thus, I will use the single occupation template. We'll work from this screen in performing the example. However, typically I like to start from the Form A LMI worksheet, copy the template, paste it into Microsoft Word, edit from there by replacing the prompts with the data, and then paste it back into Form A when I'm done. You can do this in the same way or the best way that works for you. What I'll do within this is highlight the whole form, hit Control-U twice. It will underline everything and then get rid of all of the underlining. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fill in my information as I find it in the supply and demand tables. So what we're doing is filling it in for the plumbing program certificate. And we're going to find out what occupational title and SOC code are summarized, what occupational title and SOC code are being used for the plumbing program certificate, so that we can fill in the plumbing program certificate will prepare students for entry-level employment opportunities in particular occupation. The following summarizes the LMI and San Diego Imperial County. And here you might fill in just San Diego, depending on your program. If you know that any regional programs are also serving, if any other regional programs are also serving the plumbing occupation, or if there's no real programs or demand, there might be something that's being served within Imperial County that you would find necessary to include. This is entirely specific and unique to each program. So it is up to you whether you just select San Diego County or you select San Diego and Imperial County. So let's open up the demand table and find your occupational title. We're going to hit click on Enable Editing and Enable Content. And then we're going to select the San Diego Imperial region. So you can see it's changed the data. It's excluding all of these other regions. And we're going to select just San Diego. And then we're going to look for occupational titles and corresponding SOC code. So let's say we know that the plumbing program certificate teaches to plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters. If we knew that SOC code, you could look for it by SOC code. Otherwise, you can look for it just by scrolling down. So plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters. And we can see that that SOC code is 472152. So that's what we're going to put into the worksheet. So we'll put this in here, 472152. And we're going to fill in the occupational title, plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters. We are summarizing the LMI just within San Diego County. And we have our first sentence. Now let's look up the information for the following sentences. The 2015-2018 job change is projected to be a certain number of jobs with a percentage change representing the growth. Annual openings are projected to be a certain number of annual openings. Let's get back here, and we're going to look up the 2015 to 28 change number, which is projected to be 329 jobs. Now, if you were looking at the occupational cluster template and you had several SOC codes or occupational titles, here you might have several lines going across, and what you'd be looking and focusing on then would be the grand total as opposed to just this particular line. So 329 jobs at 6.9% growth. You're pulling that from the percent change 2015 to 2018 column. And annual openings are projected to be 177. Let's go ahead and plug that in. So the 2015-2018 job change is projected to be 329 jobs with a 6.9% growth. Annual openings are projected to be 177. Next, we're going to fill in the 10th percent hourly earnings and the median hourly earnings. Moving back to the demand table, we see the 10% hourly earnings are $14.97. The median hourly earnings are $26.61. Now, if you were using the occupational cluster, here you might also, per the template, put in, if you have multiple lines or multiple occupations, put in what occupation has the greatest median hourly earnings or the greatest 10% hourly earnings. Again, median hourly earnings represents the mid-level in a person's career, whereas 10% hourly earnings would represent the starting point, general starting point in a person's career. Let's go ahead and plug this in. So the average entry-level wage at the 10th percentile is $14.97, with a median wage of $26.61. We'll fill in now the 2015-2016 LMI number, and I put in plus SDCE program certificates here in case the LMI number here does not match your program certificate counts. This can be for a variety of reasons. Sometimes your program counts for SDCE could be under City, Mesa, or Miramar. Sometimes within entrepreneurships, you may know of a program that's an entrepreneurship program, which has training not within the community colleges, and therefore there's a known program out there that may not be included in the demand tables. So in that case, you might also add this other program. what we're trying to find out here is the total demand of, or the total supply, sorry, of students coming out of programs. So what we're going to look here is at the supply table. Okay, so here we're going to also select San Diego Imperial County. Oh, first we're going to click Enable Editing so we can click on our regions and enable content. And then we're going to click San Diego Imperial County. And we're going to select just San Diego County. Now, if you were, as a reminder, if you were to want to select both San Diego and Imperial, you would hold down the Control key and then click on Imperial, and it would select both of them. If you wanted to take just one off, then you would again hold on the Control key and select again, and it would deselect. So we're just going to select San Diego. So we're going to look to find the top code that aligned with we received, or that we got earlier from the program designation sheet, and that was 095230. So let's scroll up to 095. Oh, 200s. And then we're going to select just the 230, which is plumbing, pipe fitting, and steam fitting. So we'll go here within the program titles and select plumbing, pipe fitting, and steam fitting. By clicking on the plus, you can open it up to see who is providing these services. We have San Diego Adult, which is San Diego Continuing Education. This data comes from MIS, Chancellor's Office MIS system, which we report to, and within it we are titled San Diego Adult. It also has San Diego City, providing programs for students. So we click on it and open it, and we get the true detail behind the program offerings. We're going to deselect a couple of areas here because this isn't actually what the program or the plumbing department program is teaching to. We want to deselect awards for San Diego Continuing Education that are course awards. These course awards are, we know that they're, by looking at our local award data within program review, we know that these numbers tie off, but they tie off to the course awards. So we're going to take that out because we're looking for program completions, the number of students who have completed programs. If you pull in the number of course awards that are completed, you'll have duplicated number of students, and you'll be overestimating the supply side and doing a disservice to your supply and demand tables. So we're going to take off the non-credit award from 96 to less than 144 hours. And here you can't really see it as it's cut off, but if you hover over it, you can actually see the number. So to deselect this, but not deselect everything else that I've got highlighted, I'm going to hit Control and then click on it. And now you can see that it's gone. San Diego City is also teaching a program with an associate degree. This also would not be appropriate for this program as we are not teaching at the associate degree level, so we would take that out. We're also going to take out the certificate 30 to less than 60 semester units. It's basically just noise here because we're going to be looking at 2015-16. I'm going to take it out just for ease of looking at our complete data. So let's take out the certificate 30 to less than 60, control, and select, and the associate degree. Okay, so here we are left with the true number of openings within our region. So we're going to take a look at the 2015-16 data, and we have 58 regional completions in the plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters program. Let's go ahead and enter that into our spreadsheet or into our summary. So there were a total of 58 regional completions. In the plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters occupation, with a top code or program with a top code of 095230 from the following regional institutions. And here we're going to put in San Diego Continuing Education and San Diego City College. So this is a summary of the previous information. Here we're going to pull in the annual openings from the first bullet. So with 177 annual job openings and 58 related regional completions, there is an annual net demand of 119 openings. This is where you'll make the decision to recommend based on the demand gap. So this demand gap warrants the regional need for continuation or expansion of the current program, or development of a new program, or if the number is negative, perhaps discontinuation. So here I'm going to go ahead and say expansion of the current program at SDCE. And so this is the summary program description that you will end up now copying and pasting into your Form A. If you have any additional questions, please refer to the LMI worksheet and COE website to assist in answering the labor market section. You can refer to this PowerPoint and the webinar, which are posted in the Office of Institutional Effectiveness website under the Program Review tab. You can ask your dean or chair for clarifications specific to your program, such as clarifying your program's established program codes, top codes, in relation to occupational codes, SOC codes. For any other questions, email Marnie Foster. She will either answer the question herself if she can, or direct the question to Dean Michelle Fishthal or myself to be answered and sent back to you. I hope that this training was helpful. Thank you.